With YouTube demonetizing independent media, please consider becoming a patron today for just $1 per month. Link below. Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is $3 Theater, and I know we're getting close to Solo, right? We're going to be talking lots about that over the course of the next couple of weeks when news starts to come out. I don't know about you, but I'm really eagerly waiting for the reviews to drop so I can do an RT recap on that to see whether or not the movie's any good, or whether or not it's a gigantic stinker based upon the enthusiast press who sees it and then writes reviews based upon initial reactions from seeing it at the world premiere. One of those sort of things. But that being said, what we do know, at least what to expect, is that tomorrow on May the 4th, we are going to be getting the ability to buy tickets to see Solo. And that's actually causing a lot of speculation about how well the movie is going to do in its opening a couple days, because it does open on the 25th, which is Memorial Day weekend. And it's looking like it's going to have a record-breaking Memorial Day weekend. Now, if you recall last year, Disney released Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales, and it didn't do as well as they wanted it to, and it maybe possibly kind of killed the franchise. But ultimately, that's somewhat okay. 5 movies in, hasn't really evolved much, but we can talk about that at a later date. Now, it does say here that tickets for Solo: A Star Wars Story aren't on sale yet, but early box office estimates for the standalone film are already in. Early estimates have Solo making $160 million over the 4-day Memorial Day weekend, which could set a new record. The current title holder is Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End, which was $139.8 million, followed by Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which is $126.9 million, and X-Men: The Last Stand with $122.8 million. Hopefully, Solo was better than literally any of those films. But the point is here, we have to look at when these films came out. X-Men: The Last Stand opened on 2006. Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End opened in 2007. And Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull opened in 2008. That was 10 years ago. It goes to show you that Memorial Day weekend no longer has the impact that it did. When I used to work at at the drive-in movie theater, we dreaded Memorial Day weekend. That to us was 4 days, 5 days really, of pure unadulterated hell. So I can only imagine how it's going to be with Solo. I'm just happy I don't work there anymore. Now, that $160 million is a lot of money, particularly in a 96-hour time period. But it's still below what Disney might hope to expect from a Star Wars movie. The Force Awakens made a remarkable $288 million after 4 days, while The Last Jedi and Rogue One: A Star Wars Story, the closest comparison to Solo, brought in $241 million and $172 million over the same time period. Respectively, Solo should have staying power, though the biggest movie opening in its second weekend ahead of release is Action Point, which is Johnny Knoxville of Jackass fame, especially if early word-of-mouth reviews are positive. And that is something to consider here. So what we're looking at ultimately from this article is, well, Disney wants to make more money with Solo. Well, then they should move it to December. That's what they're not saying here. That's what they're not indicating, and they should indicate that. Because you want this movie to come out in December. The other 3 have released in previous Decembers, up against virtually no competition. This movie is opening up Memorial Day weekend, coming off of a very strong Avengers Infinity War opening that's going to dominate this particular month. I mean, we're currently just a few days in. It's already grossed $800 million worldwide, and it's expected to pull in another $100 million just domestically this weekend. Never mind the fact that in 2 weeks, you've got Deadpool 2, which is estimated to open at $150 million. And that's going to carry over to maybe we're going to look at maybe another 60 to 75 million Memorial Day weekend. A lot of people are, there's going to be that drop off of people waiting to go see it the next week, and it's going to do very well. So Solo pulling in $160 million is very good, and it will break Memorial Day weekend records. But what they have to consider here is that the timing in its release and what's around it, i.e. obviously what's before it, is going to have a negative impact on its box office. One of the reasons why Deadpool moved up a week was in order to be, or moved up 2 weeks to get ahead of Solo, was simply because they didn't want to be caught in the second weekend rush for Solo. But in this case, Solo's looking to crush Deadpool numbers in its opening weekend, which then would probably be another $70 to $80 million in its second weekend, considering that there's nothing else out until 2 weeks afterward. So basically, everyone else got out of the way of Solo, even though the movie is on track to not do as well as its predecessors. It goes to show you that the summer movie season while still big in some respects, is still not doing very good. It's really not doing as good as they wanted to. And this should be really interesting to see what comes out of this. Like I said, I'm really interested to see what the reviews say. I'm really interested to see what the audience score to it is. But 160 million on Memorial Day weekend is definitely going to be a box office darling. It's going to be a box office win. It's going to be a record holder and a record breaker. And ultimately, that's going to be what Disney wants. If the movie may not do as well as its predecessors, but they'll be able to hold on to those particular accolades, which I think will ultimately be okay with them. Besides, the longevity of Solo throughout the month of the month of June is probably going to benefit. There's, as far as I know, like we've got The Incredibles coming in June. It's really just Disney kind of May or April and May and June. And yeah, so it should be interesting to see what happens with it. I'm cautiously optimistic still for the movie. Every time I see a trailer, I'm just more and more into it. And so, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But anyway, what do you guys think about this? Do you think that the 160 million is a very over the top estimate? Do you think it's going to pull anywhere near that? Do you think Deadpool 2 is going to decimate it? Do you think that if the movie does well, it's just going to be from people who want to go see if it's any good, but the second week box office numbers are going to dip and die, similar to Batman v Superman? These are things I'm curious about. Go ahead and let me know in the comments. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. This has been $3 Theater. If you haven't already, please thumbs up the video, subscribe, check back often for more content from me. In fact, if you want to see more content from me, and I hope you do, you can do so right now.